Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a Substance Painter video, and I'm going to be doing a kind of introduction to Substance Painter and just dive in gently and kind of show you how to start. So pretty much what you're going to need to do is you're going to have a model, and unless you're in the newest update, you're going to have UVs. So my object that I'm going to be using is my little character that I built over here. He has some UVs, so I just exported that. We're going to bring it over here into Substance Painter. I'm going to go File, New. I'm going to select my FBX. And I'm just going to keep everything else the same. And I'm going to drag him in here by hitting OK. And he's going to pop on in. So we got our little mesh in here. And so the first thing that you're going to need to do so that anything works is we're going to have to go ahead and bake our mesh so that Substance Painter knows where the edges are, how thick things are, curvature, where the dust can build up, all that stuff. So under the texture set settings, there should be two tabs here, layers and texture set settings. You're going to scroll down near the bottom and there's going to be bake mesh maps. Bake mesh maps. We're going to click that. We're going to open up. It's going to open up this baking menu. I'm going to change my map to a 2K map. Since I don't have a high and low poly meshes, I'm just going to use my low poly mesh as high poly mesh, and I'm going to scroll down to anti-aliasing, and I change that to 2x2. So those are the three big ones that you're going to want to change. I don't need to bake ID maps because we don't have any color IDs in there. The rest I can just leave, and I'm going to go bake all texture sets. So this might go half fast, half slow. It's because all of the objects imported as different things because they had different materials on it, so it's split it into different kind of texture sets when I exported it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this part out, and I'll bring you guys back when it comes. Okay, we're back. So everything is baked on this now. So now we're good to go for texturing. The UVs on this thing are just horrendous, so we're not going to really pay attention to that because I just hit it with a quick and dirty auto UV with inside Substance Painter to get it all, just for fast sake. Don't do it. Anyways, so now when we're looking, we can delete parts because I had previous in here, each one of these objects has a different shader on it, or a different material. It broke it up into different pieces that I can just texture off of, which makes it a little bit easier if you have multiple pieces. If not, it would just do the whole thing. So if I go ahead and just have my body selected here, I can come down here and I can say I want to throw brass on his whole body, and now he's got a golden body. Or I can throw it on his head, and now he's got a golden head. So instead of autofilling the whole thing. So pretty much the first thing that you're going to need to do when you're using Substance Painter, there is two different kinds of layers you can use. There's a normal layer, and then there's a fill layer. So the normal layers are pretty much paintable layers. So you're going to be able to use your mouse or your tablet to draw in colors where you want, or draw in dirt where you want, or just what you want, whereas a fill will fill the whole thing. Think of it like in Photoshop or whatever, or in Microsoft Paint where you have the paint bucket. That's pretty much what a fill layer is. So there's also smart materials, which is they're kind of their own layer, but we'll get into that after. So once you baked your texture map, it's pretty much as easy as going down to the material tab and choosing your first thing you want to put on. So for him, I got his body shader go on. So body is usually skin. So I'm just going to come here, and there's a whole bunch of different human skin stuff because there's one for each part of the head, which is odd, but we're just going to do that, I guess, back skin for this. And you can see here it's a little blurry. It's because our texture map is only 2K. If we come back into texture sets, we baked it at 2K, but it's set to 1. So if we go up to 4, it's going to recalculate, and then you can see it's a little bit more detailed, but I'm just going to bring it back down to 1. So you can see now he's got some skin on him. And pretty much now it's kind of a Photoshop operation with layers where you keep stacking things on top of each other to get the effect you want. So let's say I wanted him to have, I don't know, like mud on his face, for instance. I'm just going to create a paint layer, which I just deleted, but I just want to show you where the button is. So it's the sandwich with the plus here, and it's just going to be called layer. So now what you got to do is we just got to choose a material that we want to represent the dirt. So let's say it's not going to be overly realistic, but let's say it's this one here, lizard scales. Perfect. So now when you have that selected, it's going to come up in your properties. We can come to the brushes tab, and there's a whole load of brushes. You can choose any one you want. I'm going to go with, let's go with the, one of the dirt brushes, I guess, because we are doing dirt. So I'll do dirt spots. And now you can see on the screen here, there's the kind of the outline of what I'm going to do. So if I just click, now you can see I'm applying some dirt onto his face here. So now kind of, he's a scientist, you just spray it all over. Look at that, he's got dirt all over his face. All right, I'll back up a few steps. So there's a few ways to control your brush when you're using these. If you if you control left click and drag up and down, it's going to rotate your brush. If you drag left and right, it's going to change the opacity of your brush. You can't see it on the slider, but on the right side down here, you can see it's gone, and when I go to paint something, it's just nothing shows up. And when I drag it to the right, it comes back. Now, if you control right click and drag left and right, you're going to resize it. You can also use the square brackets keys. The left one is smaller, right one's bigger. And if you drag up and down, you, I believe you're changing your alpha size. But regardless, that one you don't use too often. So that's how you paint things on, and then you just keep stacking. So if I painted this side of his face all black, I can come down here, grab another layer, drop back down into here. I want to paint rust on the other side of his face with a different brush. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to grab the dirt 1 brush, and now I'm painting rust on that side of his face. So it's it's not too difficult once you get a hang of it. At the beginning, it's kind of, the layer system is a little confusing, but if you use Photoshop or any of those similar programs, it kind of helps you. So I'm just going to delete those 2 layers. And the next thing that we're going to go over is the fill layer. So when you create a fill layer, it's going to automatically fill everything, and it's under the body, and it's on top of this, so you can't see this, but if I hide the fill layer, it shows the skin underneath it. And then you come down, and there's a whole bunch of settings. So there's the base color. I can change the base color in here. Height, you can drop different maps into there with alphas. I can go over that later. Roughness is going to be like your reflection. So if you have it at 0, it's very reflective, and if you have it at 1, it's not. Metallic makes things more metal, obviously, and then there's a normal map, and you can add a bunch of stuff, and you can change a bunch of stuff in there, but that is the absolute base and basics of Substance Painter. And just to reiterate, I have different texture set lists, so if I want to do any part of this, if I want to do his shirt, I can come into his shirt texture set and make sure I'm hovering over on top of it. You'll see the layers have renewed, and I can come down here, and there's a fabric suit vintage, and I can drop that on his shirt, and you can see the the fabric's massive, so I can come down to the UV transforms, and I can just drop it down to scale the because they're all repeating textures, so you can just scale it down. And if you change your projection to triplanar, any UV kind of unseamed areas will just become seamless. So anyways, that's just a nice little introduction to Substance Painter. If I go to 4K, you can see the definition is much better on the fabric there. Alright, well, that's the first video I'm going to make on Substance Painter. If you guys like that and want a little bit more, like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you want more or what you want me to go over, and I'll try my best to give that to you. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it wasn't too long, and I'll see you guys next time.